10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, hey, everybody, welcome Gold Fever Radio. Once again, it is Wednesday. It is December the 14th. Can you believe that? Already December the 14th. Let's see what's going on here. Did you know that today is National Monkey Day, of all things? Wow, how could they come up with a day like that? National Monkey Day. There is only 16 days left in this year. Can you believe that? That's it, 16 days left. Our New Year's extravaganza starts on the 28th to 1/1. That's 5 days of digging and partying. You still got time to register on that if you're interested. 928-851-7167. That's all your meals, your pig roast, the entertainment, and your full gold split at the end. $200 a person. 928-851-7167. If you need a copy of the newsletter, you can get it at goldfeverradio.com. You go down there and there's an area you can click on. You put your name and email address in there and you can get our copy of our monthly newsletter. We're going to be starting a wheel again. That'll start in the morning. We'll start a wheel. I'll show you some top prizes here. Let's see. You can jump in early tonight just because I guess for earliness. It'll start in the morning. Again, you can just call that number, 928-851-7167, or PayPal at goldfeverradio@yahoo.com. 45 spots, $33 a spot. Some of your top prizes is a Garrett pinpointer, a Simplex metal detector, and I got a couple other prizes over here too. Like there's some pay dirt bags. There's more. There'll be a whole bunch of these pay dirt bags. Some silver rounds. These Indian buffalo head silver rounds. There's all types of stuff. Oh, we got to show you this here. There's some clear stuff. There's little things. These are you put on your bucket so they don't stick together. Look at that. There's a gold claw hat. There's a little pocket gold claw pan. There's a, look at this, a forest green, special green, production gold pan, and this specimen piece of gold right there. So all of that, and plus, I don't know what else. Well, it looks like a diamond ring, doesn't it? I think that's the zirconia ring. Anyway, we'll just keep adding more and more prizes to that there. But so those are some of the things that's available that'll be on the prize wheel stuff there. I got my decorations out. You know, it's time to get ready for Santa. You guys, y'all ready? Okay, enough of that. Okay, Santa, I should have never pushed that button. Sorry about that. Okay, gold finally went up over $1,800. So it's about time. Shut up, Santa. He'll shut up here in a moment. 1806.10. It's kind of going down a little bit right now. Let's see who's in our chat room right now. Nathan Wood, Patty's Adventures, Richard Billen, Josh Cooper, welcome. Richard Duke, Buck Rackley, Terry Curry, Mark Marabella, okay, Jerry Prince. SDI Prospecting, Lisa, Mike Duffy. Hello, Mike. Mike's coming out to the New Year's event, I see. Trucking Nomad, Willie Shiny Gold, Brad, Tad Hamilton, welcome. And Adele, I don't know how to say that name. Adele Al Rawush. Yes, I butchered that, but hello, Adele. John McAfee. Hello, John, Richard, David Villa. Okay, as you guys are popping into you can see people's in green. Green just means that they're channel supporters. So thank you guys for supporting the channel. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe to our channel. I also need to give a shout out. I don't see him in here. Guy sent me. I don't know what this is. Says exit visa held to Michigan. I don't know what it is. I was hoping you would explain this to me, Guy, what the hell this is, because I have no clue what it is. Do I have to go to Michigan to use this or something? Oh, there's Guy. Guy, yes, I got you. What is this, Guy? Tell me what this is. I don't know what it is, bud. Do I have to go to Michigan for some visit hell in Michigan? Entitles the bearer to a safe passage through hell. So I don't know what this is. Screams, ice cream, and souvenirs. So it is an exit visa from hell. I don't know what that means. I live in Arizona. It's 120 degrees here in the summertime. I'm pretty well in hell most of the time. But hey, that's pretty cool, Guy. But hey, is this like a souvenir? I just hang on to this? Is that what this is? I'll put it on the wall. Okay. I'll give away some stuff tonight. My question of the night. I'll ask that here in a little bit. But I got like, what have I got to give away? I can give away one of these books on 30 best kept secrets to finding treasures, or this Gold Fever Backyard Prospecting with Tom Matthews CD. So I'll let you guys have your choice when we do that here in a little bit. Let's see. Okay, that's the question I'll ask earlier. I believe I accomplished everything I needed to accomplish. So Daniel Grubby, hello. Let's see. Yeah, I saw Karen in there. Karen McAfee, hello. Wayne, hello, Wayne. Anyways, Clint's in there too. Look at that. Clint Washburn. Wow, he's in the chat room. Imagine that. He's also the guest tonight. Why don't we just go ahead and just bring him on in and get this show started. Wayne Peterson. Hello, Wayne. Right, here we go. Good evening, Clint. Hello.
Hello.
You're on.
All right.
How you doing, bud?
Good. Hey, do we have a little delay?
I don't know. How many fingers do you see?
One. A little bit of a delay. 2, 3, 4,
5, 6, 7.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Okay.
That's not too bad at all. Well, hello. How you doing?
Yeah, all right. How you doing?
Great. I really like the outfit you've got on.
Yeah,
I'm not dressed nearly as good as you are.
Well, you know what? I did have out my flag shirt, or not a flag shirt, but similar to your shirt. I was going to wear that in honor of you, and then I forgot when I got over here, and it was really cold. So I thought, let me put this heavy jacket on. Since it's a duster, I thought, well, hell, if I'm going to put that on, why don't I just put a hat and everything else on and play the part?
It's going to be cold. You're in Arizona. I didn't know it got cold in Arizona.
It says it's 48 degrees outside right now.
That's pretty cold. I want to do some prospecting over there. So at some point, I got to ask you more about that.
Yeah, come on down. Let's see, David Moore, welcome. SDI Prospecting. I just got the original Gold Claw pan for girlfriend, and I got to say, I tried it and absolutely love it. All right, SDI Prospecting. Good for you. Okay. Look at that. You got a fan, Clint.
That's great.
Hey, why don't you introduce yourself for anybody that don't know who you are by now?
Okay. Yeah. For those who don't know, I'm Klint Washburn. I am the creator of the Gold Claw. And the gold claw, of course, is a type of gold pan that solves a certain problem. And that main problem is that it takes a long time to pan. And so it's designed not to hurry you, but to get through the dirt really fast. And of course, it was made for professional gold miners, but in the end, it turns out that it's really good for beginners too. So we can talk about that later.
Okay, I'm trying to upload that video right now here. So whenever
we can watch that at some point.
Yeah,
for those who, I guess I could explain who I am just a little bit more for those who don't know. I am from Utah. We make the gold pans in the USA. It's not your normal gold pan. There's a lot of pans out there that do the familiar swirl and dip. You take the pan, you fill it full of dirt, you swirl it, you dip it in the water, off comes some of the gravel. You repeat the process over and over until you finally get down to the gold, which takes a while. And if you have good experience, it works really well, but it does take some experience to get good at gold panning. And the gold claw really wasn't designed to make it easy. It was designed to make it fast. But of course, if it's fast, it's probably going to be easy too. In other words, if it takes you less than a minute to get down to your gold, I would call that easy. And so what you're showing there is the clear version of what is known as the pocket pan. And we currently have 3 versions. There's the clear one that you're showing. There's the pocket pan that you're showing. And then we have the original size that started it all. And then the behemoth one that you're holding right now, which is the production pan. And so you can kind of imagine what they're for. The pocket one is the one you take anywhere. It literally fits in your pocket. The original is designed for rapid prospecting. It's small enough you can take it anywhere, but moves enough dirt. It moves dirt really fast. You can go through a 5-gallon bucket in about 7 to 8 minutes with the original pan. And then the prospector pan, oh my goodness, it's so fast. And that's what we're going to show a video on, is just how fast that one is. So when you do find that hot spot and you're ready to get serious and make bank, that's what the production pan is for. It's huge, holds about 3 gallons of dirt. I don't know any other pan that holds that much, and it goes through it in less than a minute. It's fast.
Super fast.
Yeah.
Cool. So then you did this pan. So what did you do? You just was laying in bed one night, and the next morning you just woke up and you said, you know what? I think I need to make a pan. What happened? What was the process that, you kind of went through to do this?
It was definitely not that. I actually started by making equipment, machines. I'm an engineer. I have a dad who's a geologist. And when you put those two together, you end up creating equipment for geology. And in this case, because he was hunting gold, he came to me with his gold issues. And his top issue is it's just really hard to get gold out of the nasty black sands. And of course, when you're doing commercial mining, you're not talking about just a little black sand in the bottom of your pan. When you're sluicing, at first it's dirt and black sand, but eventually your entire sluice box is full of black sand. And so you're removing the lighter materials of the black sands, and eventually you get down to the nastiest of the nasty part of the black sand. And then you finally stop and you do a clean out. Well, that clean out, that is really hard to get out. And in fact, you've probably heard stories of some of the people from the gold show, the one they do up in Alaska. Those people, we went up and tested some of their tailings after they were trying to clean out that black sand, and they were losing about 30% of their gold, most of it the really fine and flat. And so that was the challenge. How do we stop losing so much gold? And as I was designing equipment, you got to test your tailings. And so how do you do that? Well, everything begins and ends with a pan. And so I was testing the tailings from the machine using a pan, and it was just miserable. And so I went on a big, long hunt. I was looking for a good gold pan, and I found a lot of good gold pans for round pans. And I probably own about 30 or plus pans that I've kept. And they're great round pans, but they were still really slow. And I'm a pretty fast panner. I've only been in a competition once, and we can tell that story later. But I am pretty fast. But going through 40 buckets, 5-gallon buckets of this nasty black material was taking forever, and it was just wiping me out. And so I started looking around and realizing I know what the pan needs to do so that it can separate fast, because the machine was doing it to some degree. It was doing it mechanically versus manually. And I was just, I realized there were no pans out there that could do it. And that kind of surprised me, because when I started looking for a pan, I was thinking, this pan has been around for ages, hundreds of years in the modern times, clear back to the Egyptians when they started panning. Certainly somebody has already figured this out, because it just seems so obvious. But when I finally realized that they hadn't, I started talking to a patent lawyer, because I realized if I'm going to get a pan that can do what it needs to do, I'm going to have to make it. And so I had him do a patent search, and sure enough, nobody had done it. And it just blew my mind, because it seems so obvious to me what needs to be done. And this isn't what most pans do. Most pans will change the shape a little bit. They'll have you working in a corner, or they'll put a little channel in it, or they'll put bigger or smaller riffles in it. But in the end, you're still shaking and tilting. I mean, you're still swirling and dipping in the water, swirling and dipping in some form. And it just takes a long time to pan gold that way. And so I did it. I made my first prototype. And when I first got introduced to the problems with gold, that was about 92, somewhere in there. 90, somewhere in there. It was when I was still back in college. And then I went to work as an engineer. I finally got access to a lab and good CNC milling equipment. And so I decided, let's make a prototype. And it worked. But that was about, I would guess, 2000-ish. And finally in 2012, I got serious about making the equipment. And that's when I was dealing with having a good pan to be able to test the dirt. And so I started making some prototypes, and they worked phenomenally well. And so at first I was making them so that I could do it, but then I realized, you know what? These machines are pretty hard to make, and they're pretty hard to commercialize. Let's just take a pause on the equipment and focus on the pans for a while, and let's just make pans. And so that's where I'm at right now. Is I've got 3 of them out and just finished the big one, and they're amazing. They're incredibly fast, and surprisingly, they're so easy to use that beginners can now pan like a pro. You can take somebody who has never panned before, and they can pan a full pan of material in less than a minute. Brand new beginner, and keep the gold. So there's my semi-long version of how I got around to making that pan. So you'll notice that it's not round, and that's because the main motion to it is side to side, which is not a circle. And so the separation happens on those front ridges, but it's not what you do with a normal pen. In a normal pen, you'll swirl it and then you'll dip it. And as you lift the pen out of the water rushing off the surface will drag some of the light material off with it. That's how a normal pen works. The water is doing the separation. And when you have water doing the separation, you're mixing multiple physics. You have the weight of the gold trying to hold the gold in the pan, but you also have the rushing or the suspension forces of the water trying to pick up the light materials and displace them and move them out. And so that means that it depends on the shape of the gold. So it's not just the weight, but it's also the shape. So if you have a flat piece, it's very likely to get washed out. Or if you have a really fine piece, the surface area to volume ratio is great enough that you will suspend that particle of fine gold. So you don't want to remove your gold with moving water, bottom line, if you want to separate it fast and you want to keep it all. And that's counterintuitive because a lot of people think that shaking and tilting, you'll lose your fine gold, but it's actually the opposite. Because when you're shaking it, you're putting the dirt into a state of liquefaction, just like an earthquake would do, where things sink into the ground. Once you're moving that material, you're not moving the gold out, but what it does is it creates a state where everything can trade places, and that gives heavy things a chance to go down regardless of their shape, whether they're fine gold, flat gold, or normal gold. And so that's what the shaking does. And then when you tilt it, of course, the top layer will slowly flow out. And so it's the tilting action or gravity that actually flows the material out of the pan, not the water. The water is just there to give it to break up the surface tension and give it a chance to liquefy. And so it's more like pouring your cream off your milk. And so the light stuff will go up and out, and the heavy stuff will go down and stay in the bottom no matter what size it is. I see a question on here. How well does it break up clay? It doesn't break up clay. You break up clay. So if you have a lot of clay in your material, there's two phases to panning. There's the separating and there's the disarticulation. So the first stage is to disarticulate the gold from any particles. So that's, you put your hand in there, you swish it around, you break up the clay and get it to where any gold that's stuck to clay has disconnected. That's step one. And that's true whether it's a round pan or a gold claw pan. But once you've got your gold disconnected from the clay, in other words, you swished it around and washed it up really well, at that point, that's where the gold claw really kicks in. It's going to pull that gold right out of there. And that's actually a good point. If you have goopy, soupy clay in your water, it will change the physics and it will actually pull more gold out with it. With the gold claw, it doesn't care. It can be soupy, clay-filled water, and when you're shaking and tilting, that gold will just sink right through it and stay in your pan. So at that point, it's actually much better to have it in a gold claw. So that was a good question.
If anybody has a question, feel free just to jump right in there. And somebody said, where in Utah you at? That he's down in St. George.
Where in Utah am I? So I'm in central Utah, almost northern Utah, central northern. And St. George is, what, 4.5 hours away, maybe? And I go down there occasionally.
when you have to.
I like St. George a lot. So why did they want me to go to St. George? To catch gold down there?
They just said that's where they're from, or that's where they're at, is St. George.
Yeah, I really like that area. I go there often.
I like the area where kind of you're at. I used to go fishing up there a lot as a kid, as my young adult. Yeah,
it's good for fishing. It's not so great for gold.
No.
Utah has good gold, but it's fine and it's complex. And so if you're not a major mining outfit, it's going to be very difficult to gather up a lot of gold in Utah.
Yeah, if your last name,
if you're more sparse.
Yeah, if your last name ain't Kennecott,
that's exactly it.
You're probably not going to get any gold because they've already sewed up anything that's got any gold on it. They've already sewed it up. There's Thomas. I see Thomas Pennyweight, folks. Hello, Thomas. I guess you're in Richfield, Trucking Nomad says. Oh, you're getting closer. But is a right here, is a flocculant like jet dry still necessary for panning at home?
No. So a flocculant is a chemical that causes suspended clay to bunch together and settle so that you can dewater your clay and reuse the water. That's important in a system that uses the water to separate gold. because it'll get soupy, and when it gets soupy, it changes the density of the water, and it'll pull out a lot more. You lose a lot more gold. That's not the way the physics work in a gold claw separation system. It doesn't use the water to push the gold out, and so a denser liquid won't grab onto more of your gold and lose it. So yeah, you don't need flocculants. You don't even need surfactants. Surfactant is something that breaks down surface tension. So if every time you dip your pan in the water with a round pan, that edge of the water will flow up and down across the surface of that gravel. And if there's any gold on the surface, there's a good chance you're going to float it. Gold it's amazing how well gold floats, especially fine gold or flat gold. And so surfactants are what you use to break down that surface tension, so that if anything's near the surface, it's less likely, not impossible, just less likely to get caught on the surface of the water and float out. And so you'll see people using dish soap and all types of surfactants trying to prevent that from happening when they're using a normal round pan or in a sluice. But you don't need a surfactant either with a gold claw, because the gold never sees the surface of the water. The whole thing happens underwater. So surfactant versus a flocculant.
Yes. What's the difference?
So the surfactant breaks the surface tension. A flocculant causes finely suspended clay molecules to bond together, become large enough that they'll settle. And that way you can get the clay out of your water. If you're using a sluice, you're going to want a flocculant if you're recycling that water. If you have a pond and you're circulating that water from the sluice into the pond and then pumping that back into your sluice, that's when you want a flocculant.
I just like to hear you say that word.
As it slowly gets thicker and thicker, that the properties of your water change, and you start running your gold out of your sluice. Yeah, sluicing is very tricky if you're not familiar with all the physics going on right there.
Yeah. So gold pans and sun tans in New Mexico. How much do gold claws cost?
How much do they cost these days? Well, they're made in America, and they are made of Triton, which is not your typical plastic. It's a much more rugged, durable plastic. Normal plastic will degrade in the sun after about 2 years, because they're injected with a sun-resistant material that protects it from the UV rays, and that material slowly leaches out of the plastic after a couple of years, and then your pan will crack anyway. The Triton won't do that. It naturally is sun resistive. It's UV resistant, and so we've had some people put the pans out in the sun just to test it, the clear ones even, for years and years, and they don't degrade. So they cost more because they're made in the USA. They're basically the Rolls Royce of gold pans. And with all the supply chain issues that are going up, I can't believe how much the cost to make them is going up, but we are doing our best to just hold the price. So currently you can get a pocket pan for $15, which we've been able to keep that price. The same thing. The original is $30, and that's the middle-sized one. And then the big one is $60, I believe. And if you buy the whole thing as a bundle, that's $140. But right now we have that on sale for the holidays for about half that price. So I highly recommend getting it right now, getting it before the holidays are over. You've got about two or three more weeks before that sale ends.
Okay, there's another good question. Normal gold pans, you got to rough them, because of the oils and the releasing agent. You got to do that with the claw.
Yeah. So the reason you rough them up, it's called
releasing agent.
What's that?
Releasing agent.
A releasing agent. Well, it's called seasoning. So
No,
what
I
happens
meant
is,
I meant release an agent to release it from the mold.
oh, right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's why.
So when you're dipping a round pan in and out of the water to get the material off, that surface is traveling up and down that surface, picking up any smaller fine gold. And so to reduce the likelihood of that, one, you can add surfactant to your water, but the other thing people tend to do is they will wash their pans to get that release agent off or any oils from the manufacturing process. Because the gold claw is underwater, you don't need to worry about any of that. You never see the surface of the water, and our pans are naturally pretty clean anyway, and so you don't need to do any type of washing or scrubbing or roughing them up. There's no seasoning necessary, and seasoning just means if you use them for a full season, they're going to get roughed up by the gravels and rocks anyway. And so seasoning means you're jump starting that process by taking a little pad or sandpaper or some type of something and just putting little micro scratches in there, because those little scratches will help hold on to the gold if you're swirling and dipping like you do in a round pan. But because of the process, you don't have to do that with a gold claw. It's a different way of separating gold. Do we have a website? We do. You can go to goldclaw.com. There's the product. You'll find the products there, and there's a little bit of our history still there as well, if you want to hunt around and check it out. All right. These are pretty good questions. What else you got there, Jack?
Question-wise?
Yeah. I should get it to where I can see the chat screen again. Let's see if I can do that. See
somebody's got their sights set on a production pan. A lot of times I have no flow in the summer here in North Carolina, so the big claw would be great for running buckets when flow is an issue and I can't sluice.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So when we made the first two, we were thinking about prospecting, and even the original pan, as small as it is, it's only 12 inches across, so it's light, it's easy to use. If your wrists are getting worn out, it's not going to wear your wrists out. And plus, because it's underwater, when you use it, it's buoyant, and so the buoyancy of the water takes a lot of the weight off of the work. But when we did the production pan, it's literally named the production pan so you can go into production. We were thinking volume, and we were like, well, I wonder how fast you can run a full production pan, because we wanted it to be big because we knew the buoyancy would make up for some of the weight. And I was thinking, well, who knows? Maybe we could get that down to, if it takes me 7.5 minutes with a normal original pan, maybe we can cut that down to, say, 2 minutes. And when we did the testing, it took me about 30 seconds to get through it, and it just blew my mind. And in fact, it took me 17 seconds when I did my first test. And I wasn't rushing it either. I was just doing it at the speed that it should be done at. And it just blew my mind. So you could go through 3 gallons in about, once you get used to it, about 17 seconds. But even a beginner could probably go through that in less than a minute. 3 gallons of material.
So Truckee Nomad said, what is a blemish pan? So I know he's been to the site there.
Oh, yeah. So every time we make a new batch of pans, the machines they use to mold these pans are very complex, a lot of temperature and everything that goes into it. It's very temperamental. So the first few pans coming off that run will have weird blemishes in them, little eyelash shapes, and a certain amount of that is acceptable, but the first ones are a little more extreme, and so we pull those aside and we call them blemish pans. They function the same as the other pans, but they just have some obvious differences, and so we set them aside and call them blemish. and we put those on the website usually for quite a bit cheaper than the normal ones. But if you look closely at the price of those versus the holiday sale, I think that you'll find out that the holiday sale is beating those right now.
So Gold Pans says just took let's see. Thank you for that
You are
holiday sale.
welcome. Thank you for the holiday sale. You are welcome. Yeah, we do that once a year because people like to buy their pans in the spring and summer, and in the winter it's just a lot harder to do. And so we're like, what the heck? If people want to get a Christmas present, or they just can't afford the normal price of a pan, this is the season to just bring that down a little bit. It's out of the normal buying cycle anyway. Let's just bring the price down and let people, if they really want a gift, they can get it. And it's that one time of the year where if you just can't normally afford one, this is the time to do it. Do I use a check pan? So I used to use a check pan a lot when I was designing it, testing it, getting to know it. But now that I fully understand how it works, I will occasionally do it with brand new material that I'm not familiar with running, because every material has its own behavior and it runs at different speeds and slightly different shaking. And so sometimes I will, but there's a feature built into it that you really don't need a catch pan. And so what I do, let's see if I can explain this without actually showing it. What you do is so when do you want to run that video real quick? Maybe now's a good time to show that video, and then I can explain the process after the video.
Okay, we're going to test this. We'll see how this will work out here. See if this will come up. Let me see.
I just put half this 5-gallon bucket into the prospector pan.
Just like that.
I love that video because, marketing videos tend to make it look better than it is, but it's really that good. And of course, I've used it enough that I really know the feel of it, so I can do it in that 40 seconds that you saw pretty easily. But even if you're starting out and have never used one before, you could easily do that full 5-gallon bucket in under 2 minutes, because it, take a minute to do the first half and then a minute to the second half. But notice the first thing I did was I gave it a big hard shake, and that's to get some of the bigger rocks to move more towards the surface, the top. And then I start tilting it as I shake, and I tilt it. Hang on a second here. What is that, Ann?
Just teasing you.
Oh.
Always tease me.
Oh, my wife's teasing me. I have a flirtatious wife. I love that. So just so you know, my wife is kind of a celebrity here in Utah. She's a body language expert. She usually presents in stadiums with thousands of people in it. And so she's always online doing videos, and I'm always behind her screen teasing her. So I guess this was her turn to get me back.
Hi there.
Yeah, she's much better looking than me.
Than you are.
So where were we going? Oh yeah, it was the question about 10 minutes ago is, do I need a catch pan? And so you notice that when I give it a few big shakes, and then I start tilting it as I'm shaking it, and this whole thing happens underwater, and I do it towards the big riffles on that side. and I go all the way to vertical, which in a round pan, if you did that, your gold would be gone already. But this pan is designed to do that. And at that point, if you looked, I did it twice because I did the first half of the bucket and just left everything in there, poured the second half of the bucket in, and then I did it again on that same side. At that point, I've gotten rid of all the big stuff, and there's just about a tablespoon left that needs to be finished on the other side. Normally, I push the pan underwater and shake it back, the stuff in those big riffles back into the pan, and then I move to the small side. But what I can do instead of needing a catch pan is instead of shaking it right out of the big riffles, is I can just gently tap it back a little bit, move some of the dirt back, and see if there's any gold getting up in those big ridges. That's my test. If I start to see gold making it all the way to that last ridge, then I know that for that material, I'm going too fast. What I should expect to see is most of the gold down inside the pan, a little bit getting into that first big ridge, maybe a speck or two on the second one, and nothing in that third ridge. If I'm doing that, I'm going the right speed. If I'm not getting anything up in those big ridges, no gold, then I'm going too slow. I can save myself a lot of time. And if I'm starting to see it down on that last ridge, then I'm going too fast and I need to back off a little bit. So that's much easier and faster than using a catch pan and panning the whole thing out, and then panning the whole thing again to see if I'm losing gold. So that was a long answer, but that's kind of a cool feature of that pan. So why don't you run that video one more time, and this time people can pay attention to what's happening. So I'm going to do some nice big shapes, then I'm going to start tilting it at the big side, then I leave everything in there, all the concentrates, dump the second half in, and I do it, repeat that same process off the big side, and then you'll watch I'll push the whole thing underwater, shake everything back into the pan, flip it around, and finish on the small side. And then I'll tap the gold because that makes the gold walk out from underneath the little bit of black sand that's in there.
Okay, so SDI want to know, he classifies his material to a half in the area. So this should answer that same question then with this video.
Wait, put that question back on there. Is it too late?
No, let me right
so
there.
I classify my material to half in my area because it's high clay content. Would that change the speed at which you can process a 5-gallon bucket? Okay, yeah, I'm glad I reread that because there's two questions in here. The first question is, do I need to classify the material? And the second one is it good to classify if there's high clay content? And so let me answer the clay one first. If there's clay in your material, you can run your fingers through the gravel and break it up, but that could wear on your hand. An easier way to break the clay up is to run it through a classifier, because it'll disarticulate and break it up and get the gold off your clay much more quickly through a classifier. So if you have a lot of clay, I do recommend running it through a classifier just to help disarticulate or get the gold to break away from the clay so that you can pan it out. Now, the other question is, do I need to classify if there's not a lot of clay? Because if I'm using a normal pan or if I'm sluicing, classifying it reduces my amount of material. I could cut it in half, or even maybe 80% of my material could be large material that I could classify out of it. And the answer is no, you don't need to do that with a gold class system. It doesn't care about the size or shape of the material, whether it's the gold or the rocks. And so think about it this way. Some people say, well, but it speeds me up because now I'm panning less material. But that's the old paradigm. That's if you're living in round pan world, because think about how long does it take you to classify 5 gallons of material? Jack, how long does it take you to classify? Go through 5 gallons through a
5 gallons
inch or a half inch.
Well, it's going to take some time because you got to shake and wiggle and shake, and I don't know. It's going to take
clear the pan out. It gets plugged with the big material. Yeah, it's going to take 5-10 minutes.
Oh, probably, yeah, at least.
Let's just give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's say it takes 5 minutes to classify. How fast did I just go through a full 5-gallon bucket?
Yeah.
By the time By the time you're done classifying your 5-gallon bucket, I've already panned out 2 or 3 or 4 of mine. So classifying does not save you time anymore with a gold claw. It just gets in the way. So unless you have a lot of clay in your material, I recommend just running it right through your gold claw. It's faster. At the end of the day, the more material you get through, the more gold you're going to end up with. And so just get it in that gold claw and get it out and take that gold home.
Take it home. Let's see. I see that 1 Minute Adventures joined us, Richard. Who else did I see jump in here?
Okay, while you're looking at that, that kind of brings up another question, and that is, should I break out my sluice? Do you mind if we talk about that for a minute?
No, go right ahead. Well, you know what? Before we do that, let me, I know we're going to play your thing again. Let me play a commercial first, and then we'll come right back. Plus, it gives me time to go to. Plus, it gives me time to go to little boy's room too. All right. Okay.
All right.
We'll be right back, folks.
ICMJ's Prospecting and Mining Journal is the only monthly gold prospecting magazine published in the United States and is the most ICMJ's Prospecting and Mining Journal is the only monthly gold prospecting magazine published in the United States and is the most comprehensive and respected magazine about gold prospecting on the market today. With readers in all 50 states, it features articles on detecting, high banking, dredging, small-scale operations, assaying, basic geology, how to read the land, regulations, and more. Our monthly Ask the Experts column is answered by true experts. It features answers to readers' questions on processing, detecting, geology, and any other questions you may have related to finding and recovering gold and other precious metals. The Mining Journal features the most extensive selection of equipment, mining properties, services, and more, and a classified section featuring over 20 times more new and used items than the nearest competitor. The Mining Journal has been in continuous publication since 1931. A full 12 issues is available for just $27.95, and discounts are available for 2- and 3-year subscriptions. And an online subscription gives you access to over 3,000 articles going back nearly 20 years. Our purpose is to teach you how to find more gold. ICMJ's Prospecting and Mining Journal is the tool you need to succeed. It's time to raise your gold prospecting knowledge to the next level with ICMJ's Prospecting and Mining Journal. Give us a call at 831-479-1500 or visit www.icmj.com. That's www.icmj.com.
Well, that was really weird. Every time I'd go to leave, it would like stop on me. I don't know what was going on, so I didn't have a chance to leave. I see you changed your background there.
Yep.
You got a green screen behind you?
Yes, I do.
Oh, see, I got one over here. I could have put some cool stuff on there.
Yeah, it works pretty good.
Let's see. Hobart Elm, welcome. Let's see. Daryl says, I use my Gold Claw religiously just to check to see if I have color. There was two questions. Somebody asked about dry panning with it, and then somebody said something about put it at the end of your sluice. I often use my Pro Pan at the end of my sluice to catch what the
sluice. That's not a bad idea.
Didn't.
Put the big pan at the end of your sluice so that you're catching nuggets and things that get away from the sluice is a great idea. And dry panning. So dry panning is a challenge because you don't have the water in there to help break down the surface tension. And so fine gold and flat gold will attach itself to material, especially if there's any moisture at all in it. So when we say dry panning, we don't mean sort of like less water. We mean absolutely dry to let that gold try to disconnect from the dirt. But yeah, the Gold Claw is probably, from my experience, the best tool there is out there to dry pan with. And like you've probably heard some of the people in the GPAA talk a lot about that the pocket pan is their favorite way to dry pan. Well, the new production pan is designed similar to that one, and in my opinion, it's by far the best way to dry pan. And you do it the same way you would wet pan, but you got to slow it down and go through more cycles. And so when you're shaking it and tilting it towards the big end, you just do resets periodically. So instead of shaking it until you're vertical, you shake it until you're 1/3 the way there. And then you shake it all back into the pan, because that material is going to slowly drag and pull on that gold and try and get it out of the pan. And so before you're done, you reset it, or you shake it back into the pan, and then you go to halfway done, and then you reset it, shake it back in again to keep that gold from getting away. And you do that several times until you're vertical, and then turn around and do the same thing on the other side. So it's going to take longer to dry pan, but this is the best dry panning system I've ever used. So there's your dry panning.
What about on the sluice?
So back to the sluice idea. The sluice is, the whole purpose of a sluice is to take the paint off your back and to move far more material than if you were panning. That's the idea behind a sluice. And if you have a high banker, you've combined a sluice with a wash plant, which is even better, because now you're disarticulating your gold from your dirt, and you're classifying, and if you're sluicing, it's really important that you use classified material, because you have the running water doing the separation, which, remember, that's the whole problem we've been dealing with, is that running water makes it harder to catch your fine gold and your flat gold, which is why you're going to want to put the pan at the end of your sluice, is to catch that, catch the stuff you're losing. But sluices are great. They made it so that you could actually get enough gold at the end of the day to make it worth it. You can move way more dirt with a sluice than you can a round pan. So if you're going through a 5-gallon bucket in, say, 10 or 15 minutes, that's fast for some people. Some people can go a lot faster than that. But if you're going through a 5-gallon bucket in, let's just say 15 minutes, that's 4 buckets an hour, where you can move a bucket a minute or a bucket every 5 minutes, depends on if you're classifying and what's going on. Some people, because they're high banking, they're washing it, it's classifying, it's still taking them 5 to 15 minutes to go through a 5-gallon bucket, even with all that setup. But the point is to go fast. But let's just do the math. I mean, Jack, you do sluicing, right? Do you use a high banker?
Yeah, I do.
Sluice?
I have. It's kind of a little tough to use them in the desert, but I have been places where I have used high bankers.
So just represent everybody for a second. How long would it take you to go through a 5-gallon bucket on your sluice?
On a sluice or a high banker?
Each.
Well, high banker, I can you can shovel almost into a high banker, and really the rule of thumb same with the sluice, same with the high banker, which has a sluice on it. You can only process as much material as your sluice is cleaning itself out. If you put too much in and don't give it a chance to clean itself out, then you're losing. So as fast as it's cleaning itself out, you can process that. But generally, to capture anything, the old saying is slow and easy.
Correct. And the reason why is because you got to give the sluice time to do its job, which is, at the very beginning, it's faster because you have just dirt in the sluice, but there's turbulence on that sluice that's trying to liquefy the material and cause lighter material to get caught in the water and get suspended in the water and push out. It takes a little time to do that. So on a river sluice, 5 minutes to go through a 5-gallon bucket, how long will it take you?
Oh, I'd probably take longer than that in a river sluice, go through 5 gallons.
Okay, what about a high banker? A little bit faster because it's usually designed to handle more?
Yeah, because you can almost dump it in, and it's got the spray bars up above that's breaking down the material where a sluice
It's
doesn't.
breaking it down. It's pulling off most of it so that it can actually process and do its job faster. So it has less material in the sluice, and it's more classified, meaning that it's all more the same size, so that it can actually clean it out faster and better. So a high banker is a little bit faster, right? But still about 5 minutes for a 5-gallon bucket, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So and maybe you've got a really big one, and it's let's just give them the benefit of the doubt, 1 to 2 minutes. Okay. So that's the speed of a production pan, or slower. The production pan is actually faster than your typical river sluice or your high banker. Now, if you get into a 25 yard an hour mega sluice or a 400 yard an hour mega sluice, that's a whole different story, right? But your typical high banker is going to be slower than an actual production pan. But the story doesn't end there. It's not just that you're faster bringing your production pan. What about hauling that thing up to the river? That's a pain in the behind. You got to pack that thing up there. And then when you get there and set it up, now that thing's full of black sands. What do you do with those black sands? You don't have your gold yet. You got to do a clean out. And then after you've cleaned it out, you got to put it all away and pack it back down to the car. So there's a lot of setup, clean out, and tear down that's you got to account for when you're sluicing. So the production pan becomes really appealing. If you just want to go up to a river and just rip through the material, it's really appealing to just take your production pan. You grab a bucket, grab a shovel, grab a production pan, and you've got what you need to rip through incredible amounts of dirt.
Okay, so that'd be a good, let me show that video again on that there.
So watch that you go to the big side, then you push it underwater and shake it, all the stuff out of those big ridges, and then you go to the small side and finish it off.
Okay, let me do that. Let's see. I wanted to, somebody said, where did they go to? Roland or Holbert. Last week I wasn't feeling well. So the last Wednesday's show, I basically just came on and told everybody hello and have a great evening, and I'll see you next week, because I was under the weather. And so somebody said I still don't look all that great. I'm getting my color back a little bit though. So I'm starting to, I'm doing a little bit better, but as you can tell, I'm still drinking water. I quit drinking alcohol. So I haven't had any alcohol in go over a week now. So if that tells you anything, I'm still trying to recover. But anyways, let me find what I did with that.
While you're looking for that, I noticed a question or two that I should answer.
Okay.
Should you agitate the dry material first before dry panning? It's the same as wet panning. You need to disarticulate. You need to disconnect the gold from the dirt. So yes, you want to shake it up. You want to just make sure that everything's disconnected and ready to separate. And then when you shake it, you're going to have to shake it a little more aggressively, because there's no water there helping everything get buoyant and just turn into a liquid state. So it takes more shaking. It's a lot more work in dry panning, and you're going to lose gold, fine and flat gold, when you dry pan. Clint, wished you made a tote bag for the pans.
Now that's an idea.
Well, tell me more. What would a tote bag be? I mean,
it would
you
be a bag.
Get a tote bag. Why would I need to make it? Because you want a logo on it?
Yeah, I mean, there you go. Something else.
What's the point of me making it other than to put a nice, really neat looking, logo on it?
Would you like me to do them for you?
Heck yeah.
Did you see my new t-shirts that I made? Look at my new t-shirts.
Wow, check that out.
I could
that's,
do you
that's
some really
the young version of you right there. What's that muscle there? You got that? You got the muscle? You probably do. Yeah. So
I even got some cool stickers.
That's an interesting idea. Is it's hard to make a lot of things, and so I haven't pursued the idea of making a tote bag yet, mainly because I still want to get back to my equipment and get that launched.
I'll make them for you. And what we do is we put the whole pan set in there and we sell them as a set in the tote bags.
So let's see what I'm hoping somebody answered that. I genuinely am wondering if I made a bag for it, what the features would need to be.
It's just a drawstring bag.
Every fine flower. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. I don't see answers to the tote bag, but I do see a question about fine flower gold in the black sands and the beaches found in Michigan. So I've been up on those Great Lakes, and there is definitely gold up in those Great Lakes. I had some projects I was doing up there and got out and was playing around in those lakes. But so black sands are harder to separate than your normal river gravel. So me personally, I'm pretty quick. I can do river gravel really I can do it in about 15, 20 seconds, a full pan. But I slow it way down when I'm dealing with heavy black sands. If I'm loaded with black sands, then I'm going to probably slow it down to 2 minutes. So I go about 1/4 the speed when I'm dealing with black sands. So, the biggest thing with black sands is they're harder to get in that state of liquefaction. You got to shake it a little more aggressively to get everything trading places, and then you can get the black sand to flow out and keep the gold in it. And the trick is really the side to side shaking. I've seen some people with that muscle memory try to use a gold claw with circular shaking motions. If you're shaking in circles, you're working against that pan. So is that the kind of shape you think it would take? Something that simple?
Put it on your back and take down in the creek bank. Put your little scoop in there too, and down to the bank you go. I'd even put the logos on them for you too.
Well, is that durable enough, do you think?
Oh, yeah.
That'll do it, huh? Well, that's a good idea. I'll have to seriously think about that. And if you'll help me, Jack, I'm more than happy to get you logos and everything.
Well, like what I put on my T-shirts there, you just get these. I could do silk screen too, because I got a silk screen press.
Oh, that's cool.
But these are heat transfer. So you just get all these made up, and then you put it on a press, and you just make each one individually. So it only takes like 20 seconds to press these on and just keep going. So each bag, depending on the bag, I mean, if you bought a whole bunch of bags, and then depend on the size of the logo, you might be in the logo $5, and then your bag cost. So each one might be, might cost you $8, something like that to make. But I think people would pay $10, $15 for a bag like that to put all their pans in it. Sure, I do.
All right, I'm looking at the comments to see if anybody said that that's the kind of bag they're looking for. I don't see them yet.
Terry said he had one.
I'm going to keep watching though, see if somebody weighs in and says more durable, or that's all we need, or if that's what they're looking for. Let's see here. What else is going on up here? Oh, there's somebody says like a drawstring bag, but in a way that could strap to a person like a backpack. Nothing fancy because the gear isn't heavy. So what I do is I just put it all in a 5-gallon bucket. I put all my pans there. I put my shovel in one hand. That way I have a 5-gallon bucket. That's my whole kit when I go prospecting. That's how I do it. That's why in my mind, I'm not thinking of a bag because I just grab the bucket and the shovel and I go. But if you're doing a longer hike, I can totally see how a bag would be really useful.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be cool. Then, but I could see the 5-gallon thing too. T-Rep Adventures, I just want to say hi. Ray Sanderfall, that's a bad word to use around here. We don't say that word, so get that word out of your head. Craig Carter, hello, Craig.
Which word? The spin it off?
No,
those spin it offs work pretty good. I'm impressed with them. I'll talk about that though.
Bad.
Oh, it is
bad.
I like those guys.
Bad.
You'll have to tell me off screen why you feel that way at some point.
I'll tell you on screen. They're the worst pieces of crap I've ever used. I have a 7,000 that's had problems. I have a 6,000 that's had problems. I've got 2 Equinoxes that's both had problems, and they're not made in the USA.
What?
And the worst part is they won't give me a dealership, so they suck. And everybody here at this channel knows it. That's why they keep saying, bringing that stuff up.
You're torn. They suck, and I want to be a dealer.
Well, you know what? I gave them all the chances in the world. It's just one person. Anyway, yeah, we won't get into that because that's anyway. So
that's too bad. I
know. Yeah,
I have a gold monster.
Yeah, I got a gold monster too. That one hasn't had any problems, but it sucks because it picks up on every goddamn rock out there. You know. Wait till the Axiom comes out. That's the new one coming out. Made by Garrett, made in the USA, has discrimination on it, a PI machine that will discriminate. Yes, go Garrett. Mine is on its way to me as we speak.
I want to see a review on that.
I can't wait. Cheaper, made in the USA, better equipment. Yes. Okay. Anyway.
Jack, it says, better give Jack a dealership, Klint, or else.
No, we're not talking about Gold Claw. We're talking about,
we've already approved Klint, Jack to be a dealer.
Yeah, Klint takes care of me. I've been to Klint's house a couple of times, stopped by as I travel back and forth. And he loads me, every time I go by, he loads me up with more stuff that lasts me for the rest of the year. So he takes care of me in giveaways and stuff like that. So yeah.
And Jack, you're also welcome to redistribute too. You've already
people that ask for
already.
Yeah, but people that ask me for that, I just send them to your website, you know. So I don't need that way. There's no double change in hands. They just go direct. So anyways, let me run this thing again, okay? All right, here's this 40-second video again, folks, so watch this.
I just put half this 5-gallon bucket into the prospector pan. It holds an
Man, that went down in no time at all, huh?
Yeah, I love that video. It just really shows just how fast it is. It's really that easy. It takes a little getting used to. The biggest thing though is learning how to not pan like a round pan. Don't swirl it, don't dip it. It will not work right. You'll hate it. If you try and swirl and wash, you know how you kind of dip and wash, it's not going to work right because it's not designed for that. And you will actually lose gold trying to use it like a round pan.
Oh,
It'll work like a round pan, but it's not made for that.
Well, I'll show you the difference between the pans. And a lot of people, I think, is just, you've mentioned it before, but it's kind of like memory. You're just so used to them round pans your entire life that you just, you instantly just keep wanting to pick up a round pan. But if you do start to use this, then this will become your number one pan. But a normal gold pan, a normal round gold pan, when you actually pan, you either pan right-handed or you pan left-handed, depending on how you pan. The gold actually, because the way this is designed, it really don't go to the center. If you pan right-handed, it actually goes over to this direction here. So it doesn't go center just because the way it's shaped. But on a pan like this, there's only two pans I know of that will actually do it properly. This is one of them because the way this is shaped, even if you pan this way, you're making the gold go right to this bottom lines right here.
Yeah.
It's just the way that it'll, just force of gravity will do that. But in a round pan, the force of gravity is forcing it over to the side of the pan, not in that center where it should be right there.
That's exactly right, Jack. There's a lot of things, subtle things going on in the physics of it. And that's one of them. The surface of that pan is interacting with the gold because the gold's down at the bottom. And even though it's being shaken, it's hitting that slope and it's taking it right back to the center. And that was by design.
Oh, all right, Guy, I want to thank you then. He just explained what this was. Okay, thank you. Because I always say I'm going to hell. So because I play a lot of weird stuff. And so I say, I apologize because I know I'm going to go to hell for that. So that's what that is. I got an exit card from hell. Okay, I finally got it, Guy. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I need one of those.
Yeah. Craig says you should video yourself panning gold using that hat, Jack. Cowboy hat panning. Yee-haw! Okay. With the gold cloud gold pan in hand. Come on. And I'll pull it out of a backpack too, I have a drawstring backpack.
Somebody's asking if you happen to have an original that they can see.
Original what?
Original gold claw.
I don't have I'd have to go out back. I got one, but
I'd have to get up and go get one too. It's downstairs.
Oh, you're upstairs? Generally. Yeah, mine are out back.
Let me send a runner.
Send a runner.
Hey, pretty lady in pink, can you go grab me an original blue gold claw? I don't know if she heard me or not.
Oh, here's it's not an original, but it's a blue one of the production pan. I like blue. Blue's my favorite color in these pans.
Well, blue has become mine as well. I really love the clear ones for different reasons, but the blue ones are as far as your eyes are concerned, blue is on the opposite end of the color spectrum from gold. Hey, look, my runner heard me.
Hey, all right. Cool.
So this is an original right here. And blue, because it's the opposite color of gold, it really shows the gold the best, better than any other color. Some people really like black, and those people know who they are. And so we have black ones for them. And then there's a few other colors for fun that people like, but they just don't show the gold as well. But so blue has become my favorite as well, just for that reason. You can really see the gold, and it's kind of a fun color. But that's the original. And you see there's large ridges on one side and fine ridges on the other. And so when you're starting out and it's flat, you shake it. And when you shake it hard, that hard shaking will make big things float on top of small things. And so you take advantage of that in the first few seconds to get some of your big rocks to the top. Now they're at the top and they're easy to get out. Then you keep shaking. Now you shake and you start tipping it. And as you're tipping it, the gold is going to interact with that black sand. There's a little bit of black sand in the bottom. And if you're shaking it really hard, big things will float on top of small things, including a big nugget of gold. So you don't want big, wide shaking. And I see a lot of people doing this. The guy in Australia that has a lot of followers, I love him, but he does big, wide shaking. And that big, wide shaking will make your nuggets actually float on top of your black sand. So you want small shaking. If you keep it small, that gold's going to drop right through that black sand. And you go all the way to vertical. But now you have a bunch of material in these bigger fins. So then you put it back underwater, and then you reverse the angle. So now it's back towards you. And when you shake it with the thing underwater, so the water's up here, you shake it like this, everything up here will fall back inside the pan. Okay. Now you can take that to the other side, and I like to switch to one hand at that point with this original and finish on the small side ridges. And you want small shaking, not big, wide shaking, just a little small shaking. And that small shaking puts everything in a state of little liquefaction, but it lets the gold drop right through the black sand. So that's one of the tricks to the gold claw, is to keep your shaking small, 1/4 inch, maybe 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, not big 2 to 3 inch shaking like I see a lot of people doing.
Yeah, let's see.
I got the original pen in purple because my girl likes purple. So it
But
turns
also,
out, yeah.
I was going to say there's a reason behind purple too, though, that you're going to explain, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So purple has a couple advantages. One, it's also very near to the opposite of gold. It's down on that part of the spectrum with blue. So it does show the gold pretty well. Not as good as blue, but darn near as good as blue. But purple does show the black sand better. And so some people prefer the purple because they can still see the gold really well, but it really contrasts the black sand. So you can see if you have any little deep spots of black sand that might be hiding a speck of gold. Me personally, I can still see the black sand really well in blue, and I really want to see that gold, so I still err on the side of blue.
But what's the thing behind purple, the meaning?
Oh, yes. So the person that really helped me get this thing going, Ken Snyder, I love that guy. He's a veteran, and he has had, I don't know that you ever completely lose it, the PTSD. And he found that through prospecting, going out, get on the river, get away from people, go spend physical labor, catching something exciting like gold that takes patience. He found that helped him disconnect from his PTSD, gave him a relief from it. And it helped him a lot. And so he started inviting veterans to come with him. And he's known as the American Prospector on his gold or his YouTube channel, because that's what he does. He helps veterans. And so he asked me if we could do something for the veterans. And so what we decided to do is, since it's purple and a lot of veterans are dealing with issues that the Purple Heart helps them with, that we would donate $1 for every purple pan sold to the Purple Heart Foundation. And then we'll take that money and give it to the Purple Heart Foundation every year. But we always add quite a bit to that as well, because we know a lot of people just really want blue ones anyway. And so we'll throw a bunch of extras towards that anyway, because some people really want blue. So that's something we do for our veterans.
Cool the mundo. Okay, let's see. I see Paul joined us. Who else did I see coming in here? That Carl. Some of these people. There was a question up here too. Clay. You like the duster? Oh, thank you. It was because it was cold in here, so I had to get warm. That's what started this. Let's see. Novice prospector headed up Mount Baldy, California in the morning. I use Sloosh fingers. Is okay. People's talking about where they learned to gold pan at. I learned to gold pan in the back hills of the Mississippi River.
So I do see somebody say, why not a V in the riffles? I'm not sure what they mean by that, but I assume they mean this shape right here. And if you notice, they are a V shape.
Down in there. Okay. Let's see. You know what I got to do, Clint? I need to give a question here so I can give something away. Okay. Let me do that there before I forget. I have to do something here.
Okay. I say we give away some Gold Claw too today.
We can
and
do
I'll
that.
Ship it to them.
Oh, well, okay. Then maybe. Okay, let's see. I'll give them their choice then. They can have a Gold Claw thing. They can have the CD, which is Gold Fever Backyard Prospecting with Tom Massey. They can have this book, 30 Best Kept Secrets to Finding Treasures.
I think you should give those away and then give away a Gold Claw, and I'll ship it.
Okay. So this is a question though from my last video. So what I'd like to do is from the last video, I'll ask a question the next show, and the first correct one in the chat room that answers that question will win something. So this is what you get. So this is from the last video. I try to post a video every Saturday. So if you're not one of my subscribers, go to Gold Fever Adventures and subscribe to the channel. And then you can watch the following Wednesday's show and have a chance to win something. Okay, what did I call the thing where I said they were running a recirculator? You know, I can't make these too easy. What did I call the thing where I said they were running a recirculator? First one in the chat room that I see will win that. Okay, there it is already. Look at how these guys are so quick. Daniel Grubby got it. A mud daub. There was a great big old mud daub in the middle of that creek there. Where you go, Daniel?
I was going to guess recirculating means you need flocculant.
Yeah. Well, you know, when they recirculate their water, they clean it out and they dump all this muck right there. And so when I was walking up the wash, I saw this big mud daub sitting there. And I said, that's from a recirculator, left their muck there. That's really quick, Daniel. Congratulations. Send me your address. I know I don't keep none of that stuff here, but send that to me. Daryl was in here. I saw earlier. I don't know if Daryl is still here. So we went out in the desert, or he likes to go out in the desert a lot and play around and explore and all that. So he was telling me about this hole in the ground. And what it is, it's about the size of a coffee can. And they stuck this stick that went down in it. It went down over 5 feet. So I said, man, I got to go see that. So they took me out there the other day. And I put together a video of us testing what this hole in the ground is, whether it's an underground cavern or we don't know what it is. But did some testing on it and put that video together. And that will be released this Saturday on that hole in the ground thing. So anyways, congratulations, Daniel, for that. Okay. Yes, guys, I talked about a saddle up there too. And Dennis,
Spooky.
You got it right too. But yeah, somebody already beat you into it. Okay, so people can go to your website to order any of these super cool pans or check out videos and all that type of stuff, right?
Oh, me? Yes.
Yeah.
Of course they can. Yep, there's that 40-second video, so you can watch it in action. You can watch it multiple times. You can go to YouTube and watch the how-to videos. There's 3 of them out there that are great. And there's a lot of other videos, too, that you can just watch people using them. Check out Gold Claw. So I recommend going to YouTube and also to our website so that you can see what specials we're running. And right now we're doing that holiday special, Christmas time, best time of year to get a Gold Claw if you haven't been able to afford one yet.
Yeah. There's a difference between a mud daub and a mud dauber, Jack. That is true. A mud dauber would be like a bee, makes a mud dauber. That's the bee-like thing. And a mud daub. Don't correct. That's right. So go get your Gold Claw.
So I'm thinking about heading down to your site again. Can we
Cool.
talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, let's do.
So for those that don't know, I went down to your claim and we spent a day down there, and I was just sampling it to see if it was possibly a good site for commercial claim. And it's on the low end of what I would call commercial. And so it's very interesting. And our thoughts are, I was talking to my dad, the geologist. Our thoughts are, if the spot we found is on the low end of what might be commercial, maybe we should go poke around there a little more, see if we can find a little more highly concentrated area and give that thing a serious chance at turning into an actual mine. What do you think about that?
I think Ken, and I already know the area to that too. I know where all the gold has been found. You know, I have pulled off metal detector. If that's the area we're talking about,
Yes, that one
up there. I have pulled off over 100 pieces of gold in that area metal detecting. You know, nice everywhere from 1.5 grams down, and people in that same area has pulled off like 4.5 grams, and so there's some big gold there. But what's under the surface that a detector can't go down deep enough? And in some of those channel cuts, the mold timers cut those for a reason, and they got the gold out of that. But they just cut a channel. Didn't they go out another few feet on both sides and continue what they were doing? Because that whole area has good gold in it.
Yeah, so my dad and I need to get back down there. You say it's 40 degrees?
Well, that's here. Right now it says it's 45 degrees here.
What do you think it's like up there? Is now a good time, or do we need to wait till spring?
Well, let me tell you. I'll go tell you right now. Let me go in there and see what that says. Right now it says it's 46 degrees there. The 10-day showing, 10 days are showing your lows down into the low 30s, mid to low
cold.
30s, and your highs are, looks like in the upper 50s, maybe low 60s, upper 50s.
That's not bad.
So it can get cold. It can't even snow there.
Huh. So what do you recommend waiting till spring, or is year round good enough?
Year round's good enough. I'll go back up there as soon as I get a chance. I just love that area. It's just so, to me, they just have a lot to offer up there. So
yeah, that's a neat site. So we'll have to talk more offline about that.
Yes.
Could be fun.
It froze here last night. I turned the water on this morning and nothing came out of the pipe. So I had to wait till it warmed up. That's how cold it was here last night. Well, you know, when they say we get a hard freeze, that's what that means. It drops below 32 for more than a couple hours. And that's generally what they call a hard freeze. So I think it got down to like 28 degrees last night. But that's about as low as it will get here. But
well, I grew up farm boy. We had a lot of nights with frozen water. A lot of heat tape we had to put on our pipes. We grew up in a little trailer house for a while.
Hey, Jack, where can we buy your T-shirts? You know, Mark, that's a good question. I should put them online. You know that? Why don't I do that, Mark? or send me a message afterwards, and we'll do something. I got them in all sizes. Cool. They're really a nice, durable T-shirt. Cool T-shirt. We're gonna make some Gold Claw drawstring bags too to put on your backpack. Put your whole collection of pans in with some scoops and your lunch, and then you can go sit down by the creek bank. And actually, you can take a 5-gallon bucket separately with that also, so you can take 2 things.
All right, we'll have to do that, Jack.
We'll make some T-shirts too that say Gold Claw on them, and some hoodies and gloves and all types of stuff. So, oh, you know what else we could do? Oh, let me show you this. Oh. We should also do these right here. See, they come in a little Christmas box, you know, you can send them out to people. But look at this right here. For all you guys that like to drink coffee.
Hey, that looks pretty good.
I make these too. My
Nicely
new hobby.
Yeah, my biggest problem is just when to design it and order it and put it all together. I have so many projects I'm working on.
We need to go in partnership.
There you go. You can do the merch.
Hey, all right.
That sounds good. I'll get you all the logos and you make all the merch you want.
Cool, man. Hey, that sounds like a good idea.
I'll drop ship it. Anybody who wants it added to their order.
We'll make some stickers. We can make some T-shirts. We can make some drawstring bags. We'll have the Gold Claw apparel lineup.
You know, that sounds fun. I just know that with everything I've got going on, it's not going to happen. But my goodness, if you want to make it happen, I will get you the logos and you can keep the profits on it.
I'll take it.
And then people who want Gold Claw logos can have it.
Yeah. We can make them. I just made an order. I sent them to these guys right here. He ordered a bunch of coffee cups.
Cool.
So I just sent these to him.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. They're kind of pricey coffee cups because, you know, first you got to buy the cup and then you got to do the logos and all that.
It. Yeah. It's hard work. Making merch is hard. It takes time. You got to think it out. Got to find a good source.
All right. So there's a good question I was going to ask you, but now I don't need to. It's cold in Michigan. Need to do a jacket. Okay, Richard, we can do some jackets. Needs a raptor design with gold claws. Ooh. Klint, what's new on the drawstring drawing board?
Well, you know that's top secret. There's more work I can do with pans, but what I really want to do next is get my equipment that's 90% ready to go to market and get that completed. That's what I would like to finish. COVID has definitely put a wrench in that. Just trying to, you know, stay alive, keep my kids fed. So we'll see how fast I can get those machines out. Those machines are awesome. They're amazing. You saw the one I have in my garage.
Yeah.
The little one.
Somebody said about the jacket. You know, there's a story behind this jacket. This jacket actually came from your neck of the woods.
Oh, yeah?
I bought this jacket probably, let's see, I've been in Arizona since early 90s. So this had to be somehow in the 80s, I'm going to assume. That's how often I wear this jacket because Arizona, I don't have to wear it that often. But there was a store up there. I think it was called Smith & Morehouse.
Smith and Edwards.
Smith and Edwards, up by and it burnt down. Didn't it?
Not Smith and Edwards.
Which one burnt down? There was a big warehouse like that burnt down.
Well, maybe it did, and I didn't know about it. But Smith and Edwards is that surplus store with all these army everything and all kinds of clothes. They would have stuff like that.
I thought it was Smith and Edwards, but maybe it's not. But anyway, so I went in there when they had a fire sale because they burnt down. And they had this jacket on the rack, so I bought it, but they were very limited supplies. Well, when I got it home, it didn't really fit me good. So they had another store in, like it was in Sandy or West Jordan, someplace, Riverton. They had another store out in that area. So I took it back to that store and exchanged it, but they didn't have the same one. But they told me since it was bought at that store, they went ahead and upgraded it and gave me the one with the sheep lining in it. So I came out actually ahead of the game. I got one on fire sale and I got an upgraded model. And I've had this ever since the 80s and it's still.
Yeah, that thing's great. Such a good look to it. That must not be Smith and Edwards if they have two locations, because as far as I know, Smith and Edwards just has the one location. But man, is it a famous store.
I'd ask my brother, but he's probably sleeping what that was. But he knows everything. So I'll hear from him tomorrow.
So since they're curious about some of the things I'm working on, I've built there's a small machine that I've got that'll probably run. It's designed to separate your nasty black sands. And so the smaller one probably run a 5-gallon bucket in a minute or two. The bigger one will run about 50 to 100 yards an hour. That's the one you saw in my garage. And I've made bigger ones that were designed to run up to 400, 600 yards an hour, actually. And that were prototypes. But the one in my garage is currently tuned to run about 50 yards an hour. And I'm really excited to get that thing out and get it tested, because it does something that no machine's ever done before. And that is that it self-dewaters. So you put water in this machine. It's a self-contained tank. It separates into that tank, captures the water and the dirt, and then it pulls the dirt out of the water, and you keep your water. And so I've got that type of a system in mind for places like Arizona, where it's very hard to mine with water because water is precious. You don't really want a settling pond because settling ponds lose a lot of water. And so I just want to test that system out. So that's something I've got coming, but it's need to get down and test it and see how good the dewatering system works. Should work pretty good.
It's amazing how many people must live in Utah that knows all about the Smith Edwards, north of Ogden and Utah.
That's the one.
The brother just sent me back a text. It was called Allies.
Oh, okay.
That burnt down up there, and that's where I got it at. And then they had one someplace further.
Yeah, it had to be a different store because Smith and Edwards just has the one location. But man, are they famous?
I know. I used to go there every year, and that was one of the things. We'd go Christmas shopping and everything because we just love that store, Smith and Edwards.
There's something about it. It draws everybody in. It's just fun.
Okay, so you're working on the secret thing. You can't tell anybody what it is.
Well, I just told everybody what it is. It's designed to go. It's designed to go in and pilot an area. So, you know, if we let's say we go commercial on your property, the first step is to go run, you know, like a 10,000 yard run. That's very typical. There's usually a limit right about there where a state will let you run that much material without getting into the bigger permitting issues. And so when you go to run that, typically you'll go in and spend a week setting up, getting your settling ponds in, and then you'll run it for a whole week because, my goodness, you got it set up. You might as well run it. And then you got to do reclamation when you're done. You got to, you know, fill your hole back up and make it like you've never been there. And so you're a good 3 weeks to 2 months just to test an area. just because of the nature of it. This is designed to roll in, excavate directly into it, and it'll fill the hole as you go. You can run that whole thing within a day or two. So it's designed to completely change the paradigm of going in and piloting in an area. So, you know, it'd be a big deal if the dewatering system works the way we think it will.
It would, because, you know, we always need equipment. We love equipment.
This thing works so good too. It doesn't beat itself up. Remember how quiet it was when I turned it on?
Yeah.
You almost can't, it's just silent, and that's the sign of a machine that's not going to wear itself out. Yeah, I mean, I want to get back to that thing and get that thing completely commercial and on the market, and a smaller version of that for people who want to just take it up and do some weekend mining.
You need to. Yes, you do. We're all waiting for a more better mousetrap. We need a more better mousetrap. We can put some cool logos on it too.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, all right, man. It's way past my bedtime. You're on the same time now than we are, so that's pretty good.
If we're wrapping up, I say we do a holiday special giveaway.
Okay, a holiday special for all those that hung all this time. Holiday special giveaway.
So that's going to be all three of them. It'll be the production pan, an original pan, and a pocket pan.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. You got a question that an awesome question that you maybe said something about an hour ago?
Oh, a question for the drawing itself.
Yeah.
Or
do you want to just throw up a number from 1 to 100?
Well, let's see here. How many gallons of material can the production pan hold? How about that?
Well, that's an easy one.
If you were listening, how much material can it hold in gallons?
First correct one in the chat.
Oh my gosh, that was way too easy. I see a lot of 4s and 5s.
Oh, there we are.
Is the correct answer.
Okay, so let's see who got it first. Man, it took me a while to get it. Sean Sparks.
Sean Sparks, man, he was right on that. So a lot of these, the reason people are saying 5 is because I ran that 5-gallon bucket. But you notice I poured half of the bucket in, and I panned it out and left the cons in there, and then I put the other half of the 5-gallon bucket in, because that was about 2.5 gallons each time I poured it.
A lot of other people
holds about 3 gallons.
Yeah, other people said 3 too, but a lot of people knew that question, but old Sean was just quick on the draw.
Yeah. All right. So what you need to do is, if you can get his shipping address and then message that to me,
I will do that.
So I can send him his shipping info.
Okay, Sean, just
shipped out to him.
PM me, DM me. I don't know why some people call them DM. PM, private message.
Direct message.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Or at goldfeverradio@yahoo.com. Either one. And then I'll pass that on. And
once I get that, I'll ship it out. And you put a note in there. It was the winner of the holiday special.
The winner of the holiday special. The one, the only, for the correct answer. And if anybody wants to take advantage of the holiday special, what do they have to do?
Oh, well, the holiday special is live right now. And so what you do is you go to goldclaw.com, and it's the very first product on there. You'll see it. It'll have Christmas decorations on it. It's pretty obvious which one it is. So just go right in there and grab it while it's there. We're going to leave it live through the holidays, which is another couple weeks, and then we'll take it down. So I recommend getting it now.
So take advantage of that because you can save yourself some dinero. And we ain't talking no dinero like this type of dinero. We're talking the other type of dinero. So take advantage of it, man.
Yeah, it's definitely the best price we do all year.
That's right. Sean says, pays to listen on your channel, Jack. Yes, that's a good answer. Anyway, and guys, don't forget we got the wheel going on too. Okay. Prize giveaway stuff. We're giving away stuff. Okay. So that's what I have. Wrapping up things. We coupled everything. Before we let you go, I got to ask you one final question, man. Person just starting out in this hobby, what's the best piece of advice you could give to them?
Well, to me, the best thing you can do is go find people in your area that already do it. And so this channel here is a great place to do it. You can connect with people. There's gold clubs around that you can join. But my best advice is go find somebody either at a club or at a community like this that's willing to take you out and actually show you. Because if a beginner goes out and starts digging, they're not going to find gold. And I will dig in that very same spot and show them the gold. Gold is everywhere. So my best advice is let somebody who knows how to find that gold show you where it is, because once you find the gold and you recognize it's all over the place, that's when you'll catch that bug. There's my 2 bits.
2 bits. What is 2 bits?
What is 2 bits?
Yeah.
Nobody knows anymore. I've never actually seen a bit, but it's some kind of a coin. I assume it's something from England.
But I mean, doesn't it represent, like, is it 2 quarters or is it a quarter?
2 bits, 4 bits. How does that go?
I don't know. Is it 2 bits?
6
Is
bits,
a quarter?
$1. So I'm assuming 8 bits and $1.
I don't know. I was wondering what the, let's see. 25 cents. Man, look at these guys. God, they're smart. But if you do buy a detector, get the Axiom. Roland, right on, buddy. That is right. And you can get them from me, and I'll give you a super discount on them suckers, man. And I'll be doing a video as soon as I get mine. I can't wait. That's right. Buy in the
Patty's
USA.
Adventures. You're welcome. Patty says, thanks for sharing some of your knowledge. You are welcome.
And the Gold Claw Gold Pen, made in the USA, not in China. Buy America.
No way. We will not let China have it. No way we're making it there.
We need to start supporting U.S. And since MindLab's not U.S., screw them, I say. Now, if they ever gave me a dealership, I would change my tune. But in the meantime, yeah, I can tell you some real good, cool stories about that. But I won't go into that because all I'll do is really piss them off. But that's okay. But that's all right. I'll piss a lot of people off if I tell them stories about what they're doing to me behind the scenes.
Oh my. Well,
it's nothing
I don't
bad.
know
They're just
anybody over there but one, and I adore her. So
yeah, my eyes adored her too. Okay. I'm trying to find my end of show thing here right there. All right. So Clint, we appreciate you taking your time hanging with us. Hey, best of holidays to you. Everybody go to goldclaw.com, get them gold pans for the season. Well, you can get them at a discount. Save yourself some dinero, some dollars. It's always good to save dollars. And remember, if you get them in purple, you're supporting the vets, and get them at a discount too. So try something different this year. Give a gift that keeps on giving. The gift of gold. You can teach a man to fish, but if you give him a fishing pole, he can fish forever. You can teach a man a gold pan, but if you give him a gold pan, ever how the saying goes. Hey,
Well, thank
anyway,
you, Jack. I appreciate being with you and getting to hang out with your folks.
Hey, all right. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around. We appreciate all you guys. And till our paths cross again, take care. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you, Clint. And we'll see you guys all next week. Take care, everybody. See y'all. Bye.